A few days ago, I decided to hop in on Firebase Z and play the map after not playing it for nearly 2 months. And I went up against Orda on Firebase Z, and something that I found very interesting was that it's not that easy to take down. If you don't know, I dedicated a few videos on this YouTube channel to trying to defeat Orda, making guides and other things, but I never really looked at Orda on Firebase Z. The main one that we always tested out was the one on Outbreak, and it's very different compared to the one on Firebase Z. So in today's video, I just want to do something fun and compare the two. So put Orda versus Orda, but obviously Orda on Firebase Z and Orda on Outbreak, and see which one is better. Now I'll be going over the size of Orda, the attacks that Orda has, the best weapons to use on Orda, and trying to kind of look at its health the best as I can, as there is no definite amount that we know of. Just before we fully get into it, just gotta thank you all so much. We are nearly at 29,000 subscribers. We're less than 300 subs away. So if you're new here and you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe. We're on the road to hitting 30k and we're getting closer and closer. And also be sure to drop a like on the video, as that does always help out. Let's aim for 150 likes. That would be very much appreciated. Without further ado, let's hop right into the video. So the first thing we're going to look at is the attacks that Orda has. The first one is going to be Firebase Z. On this, Orda doesn't really have as many as on Outbreak. The main thing that Orda does on here is shoot these weird buzz flying creatures that can damage you, and once Orda does this, it is actually weaker, so you can damage it more on its mouth. Also, it has the ability of shooting hellhounds out of its hand, which is actually insane. And lastly, one attack that it sometimes does, it can just straight up step on you and knock you out, as Orda on Firebase Z is absolutely ginormous. Now the Orda on Outbreak is something much more different, because the height or the size of Orda is way smaller. It isn't anything as big as Orda is on Firebase Z, whereas if you look up at Orda on Firebase Z, you are basically looking up at a god, which Orda is supposed to do. And then when you look at the one on Outbreak, it is definitely smaller, which is something interesting, because I thought that Orda is basically the same character but just kind of brought over. Then again, it is a game, and also it is the Dark Ether story. I'm not 100% sure with it, but the attacks that Orda has on Firebase Z are very similar. It has the same spitting of weird bug flies, and also you can deal extra damage. It shoots hellhounds at you, but the thing is with this, it basically can shoot them from insane distances. But what's different here is Orda cannot really step on you, but instead do a slam with its hand on the ground, which can send you flying, and also it can swing on the ground with the same hand, which can also do the same thing. I'm actually not sure, does it swing slam on the ground, or does it step on the ground to blast you away? It's either or, one of those. It still does blast you away. But another interesting thing is where on Firebase Z, Orda cannot regenerate its health, Orda on Outbreak can. So basically Orda does actually walk up to a thing and just fully regenerate its health. So if we're looking at which Orda is kind of better, I would say the Firebase Z one, because it cannot regenerate its health and it definitely has less attacks. But now let's quickly look at something that I feel like is interesting, and that is the weapons that are very good at taking out Orda. So quickly I'm gonna look at Outbreak, because that one is just something I have a lot of experience with, and the best weapons in my opinion to take out Orda on Outbreak is as follows: the Gallo or the Hower, which takes it out in absolutely seconds with a combination of Ring of Fire and if you have it leveled up and Pack-a-Punch, and also the best thing in my opinion, which is the E-Tool. In my opinion, the combination of E-Tool and Ether Shroud, walking up to Orda's leg, just beating it up with a freaking melee weapon, doesn't actually have to specifically be an E-Tool. You'll take it out in seconds, even with the regeneration of its health. But quickly looking at the Firebase Z Orda, this is where things get a bit interesting, because I myself, I'm not 100% sure what the best weapon is on Firebase Z, because if you look at Orda on Outbreak, it actually doesn't kind of really change much of it if you go up with the regions. So the difficulty of Orda doesn't get insanely hard if you just keep up with the Pack-a-Punch level and the weapon level itself. On Outbreak, you will be able to take out Orda relatively the same throughout each region, whereas on Firebase Z, in my opinion, Orda does end up getting harder and harder and more difficult to take down than it is on Outbreak. And on Firebase Z, I'd 100% recommend any kind of long range weapon, preferably an LMG, which can deal a lot of damage continuously, or an AR. SMGs can sometimes deal enough damage, and the most interesting thing is, from what I did test on Firebase Z Orda, is the newer weapons seem to deal more damage than the other ones, as Treyarch has to kind of balance them more. But if you are planning to go for a high round ever on Firebase Z still to this day, I would 100% recommend for you to kind of just avoid Orda in the higher rounds. Just let it take over the power, and that is something that a lot of people just tend to do. The Reiki just ends up being a bullet sponge on it at one stage, and just all weapons do the same. I feel like the Orda on Firebase Z is way more balanced than the one on Outbreak, whereas the one on Outbreak is just something that has to be easier in my opinion, because it's a little world event. So we just put up the Orda from Firebase Z versus the Orda on Outbreak, and I know I didn't really go into its health and everything like that, as there is no definite amount as of today, and the game is coming to an end, so this is something that I've kind of planned to do for a while, and it just sparked my interest when I hopped into that game of Firebase Z just for fun, when I was recording the review on the brand new Judge Dredd pack. If you want to see that video, I will have that link down in the description. Thank you all so much for watching, and soon we will have a guide on how to complete the challenges and unlock the brand new melee weapon. We'll be doing tests with the melee weapon versus Orda and different things like that. The brand new map for Cold War Zombies, which is DLC 4, will be coming out soon, and there's just a bunch more content to be coming out, including Vanguard Zombies. So if you're looking forward to that kind of content, be sure to subscribe. And also, I hope I helped you out in some kind of way in defeating Orda faster, even though that wasn't the whole point of the video. My opinion, Orda on Firebase Z, poo poo, and the Orda on Outbreak, big pog. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.